Here's a number I want you to hold in your head for the next 30 minutes. $392,000. That is the median gap between a home in Kitsap County and a home in King County as of the most recent data available going into 2026. Kitsap median is $551,000 and King County median is $943,000. Now, before you say, I already knew Kitsap was cheaper, I want to ask you a better question, a harder question. Do you actually know what that gap is worth to you monthly after taxes, fees, and the real cost of getting back and forth to Seattle? Because most people don't. They know the headline number. They don't know the actual math. And in 2026, that math is more complicated, in some ways more interesting than it's ever been. Here's the story. Most people tell themselves when they start thinking about Kitsap County, Seattle is out of control expensive. Kitsap is right across the water. If I move there, I save a ton of money on housing, my mortgage goes down, and I can still get to Seattle when I need to. It's an easy trade. And for a long time, that was basically right. For most of the decade, Kitsap was a genuinely significant bargain relative to King County. You could buy meaningfully more home for meaningfully less money, and the savings were obvious even on the back of a napkin. That story is still true, but it's not as simple as it used to be. Here's what I'm actually seeing in this market heading into 2026. Kitsap prices have climbed. The median sales price in November 2025 was $598,000, up nearly 8% year over year. That number was in the low $400,000 just a few years ago. The people who relocated here, bidding on affordability, got in early and made a great call. The people making that calculation now are working with different inputs. At the same time, King County is not standing still. The December 2025 NWMLS data shows King County median prices at $899,000 with some moderation from the prior year's peaks. So the gap is shifting from both sides simultaneously. What I want to do today is go through the actual line items, not just the headline prices, and give you a real picture of what the financial comparison looks like in 2026. Because the answer is neither Kitsap is obviously the move, nor the gap is gone. The truth is more nuanced than either of those, and it depends heavily on your specific situation. I'm James Bergstrom. I'm a real estate professional working in Kitsap County full-time. I track the local market, prices, inventory, days on market, what buyers are actually paying versus what they expect to pay when they first started looking. I'm not here to sell you on Kitsap. I'm here to give you the real numbers so you can decide if this move makes financial sense for your household. If it doesn't, I'll tell you that too. Here's how we're structuring this. We're going to go through 6 categories of comparison: housing, property taxes, daily costs, the hidden costs of Kitsap, the hidden costs of Seattle, and then we're going to go build the full monthly picture and see what the affordability gap actually looks like when you run the complete math. So I want to start with the most important number, the one that changes everything else, then we'll build from there. Let's start with the number that drives every other number in this conversation, the purchase price. According to the most current data available from KEDA's February 2026 economic profile, Kitsap County's median house resale price is $551,000. King County's is $943,100. That's a $392,100 gap. Now, let's translate that gap into what it actually costs you monthly. I'm going to use a 30-year fixed mortgage at 6.5%, which is in the range of the current market rates, and I'm going to assume a 10% down payment, which is realistic entry point for a lot of buyers. $2,232 per month. That's what the mortgage payment difference looks like at these price points at current rates with a 10% down payment. Annualized, that's over $26,000 a year, every year for 30 years. When people talk about the affordability gap, this is what they're talking about. Not the headline number, the monthly payment. Here's the practical implication. If you're a household earning $130,000 to $160,000 a year, the King County mortgage at current prices is genuinely punishing. At $5,367 a month for principal and interest alone, before taxes, insurance, and HOA, you're at or above the standard 28% housing cost threshold before you've spent $1 on anything. In Kitsap, at $3,135 a month, you have breathing room. Real breathing room, not just technically qualify on paper breathing room. That breathing room is what allows people to save, invest, and take a vacation, pay down debt, and not feel like every unexpected expense is a crisis. It changes your relationship with your finances in a way that's hard to quantify but very easy to feel. This is the foundational number. Everything else in this video is built on top of the mortgage math, but I want to add one important caveat here. These are median numbers. Kitsap has a wide price range. Bainbridge Island runs significantly higher than Bremerton or Port Orchard. If you're shopping Bainbridge, you're operating in a different market entirely. Keep that in mind as we build this picture. When you're comparing the cost of homeownership in two counties, property taxes are not an asterisk. They're a line item, and they compound over decades. Here's what the data shows. King County has the highest median annual property tax bill in Washington State. That's $6,085 per year, based on an effective rate of approximately 0.84%. Kitsap County's median annual property tax is $4,430, with the county assessor reporting an average 2025 levy rate of $8.69 per $1,000 of assessed value. The gap, $2,355 per year. That's nearly $196 per month, every month, just in property taxes. Practically, this means your total housing cost comparison isn't just the mortgage payments. It's the mortgage plus taxes plus insurance. Add $196 per month in property tax savings to the $2,232 a month in mortgage savings, and you're now looking at a $2,400 plus monthly difference between owning a median priced home in Kitsap versus King County. Over a 10-year ownership period, the cumulative tax difference alone is over $23,000. And that's not hypothetical money. That's real money that either stays in your account or leaves it. The effective tax rates between the two counties are actually fairly similar on a percentage basis. The bigger driver of the dollar difference is the assessed value gap, because Kitsap homes are assessed lower, the tax bill is lower, even at comparable rates, which is a way of saying the affordability advantage in Kitsap compounds. A lower purchase price saves you on the mortgage and on taxes simultaneously. Before I get into the daily cost comparison, I want to mention something. If you're in the process of seriously weighing a move to Washington State, I put together a free Washington State relocation guide. It covers the financial side of this decision, county by county breakdowns, what to look for and what to ask, and how to think through the numbers for your specific household. The link is right in the description. There's zero cost. Grab it and keep watching, please. Housing dominates the affordability conversation, and rightfully so. It's the biggest line item, but your daily cost of living adds up in ways that matter, especially for families. Let's look at the C2ER cost of living index comparison. The Council for Community and Economic Research tracks a composite cost of living index across U.S. metro areas. Seattle's index sits at 145.7. Kitsap County's is 115.3. The national average is 100. Translation? Everything costs more in Seattle than in Kitsap. That's roughly 21% more on a composite basis. Let's break that down by category. Groceries between the two areas are actually fairly close. Both are slightly above the national average. The meaningful daily differences show up in gas prices. Kitsap runs about 40 to 50 cents cheaper per gallon than Seattle. Healthcare costs and general lifestyle expenses like restaurant meals, services, and entertainment. For folks spending $1,200 a month on groceries and day-to-day expenses, the composite index difference suggests that you'd spend roughly $250 to $300 less per month in Kitsap on those same purchases. It's not dramatic on its own, but stack it on the housing and tax savings and the cumulative picture keeps growing. So the daily cost advantage in Kitsap is real, but should be put in perspective. It's not the primary story. The primary story is housing. The daily cost difference is a supporting character that reinforces the main thesis. It doesn't carry it on its own. And now I need to do something that a lot of comparison videos skip over. I'm going to tell you about the costs that actually go up when you move to Kitsap. I told you I was going to give you the real numbers. Here's the part where being honest about Kitsap costs me some easy goodwill, but earns your trust. There are 3 categories that are higher in Kitsap than in Seattle for people who are actively commuting or relying on ferry access. And if you're moving here specifically to access Seattle, these are non-negotiable line items. Let me build the ferry commuter math. If you're taking the Kitsap Fast Ferry daily, which costs $196 a month for a pass, and you need to drive to the terminal, that parking adds another variable. Factoring in a conservative ferry pass plus local transit or rideshare on the Seattle end, a regular commuter can expect to spend $250 to $350 per month on the ferry leg of their commute. That did not exist when you lived in Seattle. And if you're in a 2-car household, which most Kitsap families are, because transit options here are more limited than in Seattle, you're carrying vehicle costs for both cars. That's insurance, maintenance, and registration for 2 vehicles versus potentially 1. On groceries, Kitsap has expanded its retail footprint significantly. But if you want Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, or a full specialty market selection, you're likely driving to Silverdale or taking the ferry into Seattle. That's time, and time is money. None of these are deal breakers for a household saving $2,400 a month on housing and taxes combined, absorbing $350 a month in ferry commute costs still leaves a net savings of $2,050 per month. The math still works, but only if you account for the whole equation. Seattle has its own invisible costs that people who live there have completely stopped seeing, and those costs are significant. Here's a cognitive bias that plays out constantly in this decision. When you live somewhere expensive, you calibrate to its costs. You stop noticing them. They're just what they cost. Moving away is often the first time people do an apples to apples accounting. So let's surface some of the Seattle-specific costs that often don't make it into the comparison but absolutely should. Let me focus on 2 of these things that I find especially instructive. First, parking. If you work in downtown Seattle or on South Lake Union and you drive, you are paying $200 to $300 or more per month for a reserved parking spot, and that expense simply doesn't exist in Kitsap. Even ferry commuters who have their own transportation costs are not paying downtown Seattle parking rates. Second, the price per square foot gap at $304 per square foot in Kitsap versus $488 per square foot in King County, you're getting 61% more home per dollar in Kitsap. A family or individual that moves from a 1,400 square foot Seattle condo to a 2,200 square foot Kitsap home and pays less for it is not trading down. They're trading up on space and down on price simultaneously. Seattle costs are real and they're documented, but they've been part of the background for so long that most longtime Seattle residents have stopped accounting for them. The parking, the traffic time, the premium on every service and restaurant, they're invisible because they're constant. A move to Kitsap makes them suddenly invisible through comparison. All right, we've gone through every major line item. Now let me do what this whole video has been building toward. Let's run the complete monthly picture and answer the actual question. Let's build the complete comparison side by side for a hypothetical household. We'll use a dual income couple earning a combined $160,000 annually, a realistic profile for people considering this move with a 10% down payment and a full-time Seattle commute for one person. Let me say that plainly. Based on this model, a household making the move from King County to Kitsap County is looking at a net savings of approximately $2,600 to $2,700 per month, even after accounting for the ferry commute cost and the higher transportation overhead of living in a car-dependent county. That's not the headline price gap. That's the actual take-home difference after you've accounted for taxes, insurance, daily costs, and commute. And it's still over $32,000 a year. Now, I want to be transparent about the assumptions in this model. I've used median prices, current typical mortgage rates, and estimated costs. Your actual numbers will vary based on exactly where in Kitsap County you buy, whether you're commuting daily or working remotely, your insurance rates, and your household spending patterns. But the directional answer is not in question, the affordability gap is real. It's substantial and it has not been erased by rising Kitsap prices. It has narrowed on the housing side. It has not narrowed enough to close. Here's the nuance that I think matters most for 2026 specifically. The gap is still real, but it's doing different work for different buyers. So if you're coming from King County, you're still looking at a transformative financial difference, the $32,000 annual savings changes what is possible for your household retirement contributions, college savings, actual discretionary income, a down payment grown faster. That's not small. If you're coming from a low cost of living market, like Phoenix, Denver, the Midwest, the calculation looks different. You're not comparing Kitsap to Seattle. You're comparing Kitsap to your current market, which may be significantly cheaper. The gap I'm describing, again, is the Kitsap advantage over King County, not over the national median. So know which comparison is relevant to your situation. And for buyers who are primarily remote, who won't be commuting to Seattle at all, the Kitsap case is even way stronger because the ferry cost disappears from the equation. Pure remote workers get the full housing and tax savings with none of the commute overhead. So the short answer to the title question, yes, the affordability gap is real, but knowing it's real is only half the work. Knowing whether it's real for your situation is the other half. If you want to run these numbers against your specific situation, your income, your target price range, your commute needs, that is exactly what I do. Reach out and we can walk through a real comparison built around your household. And if you're still in the research phase, the free Washington State Relocation Guide in the description below is the right starting point. It covers the county by county financial picture, what to factor in before you make this decision, and a whole lot more. Link is in the description, no cost, no catch. If you want to run these numbers against your specific situation, your income, and your target, let's bring it home. We ran 6 categories: mortgage math, property taxes, daily living costs, the hidden costs of Kitsap, and the hidden costs of Seattle, and the complete monthly picture. Here's what the data says going into 2026. Kitsap County's median home price of $551,000 per the latest KETA profile is $392,000 less than King County's $943,100. At current rates, that translates to roughly $2,200 in monthly mortgage savings. Property taxes add another $196 per month. Daily living costs run about $250 to $300 per month. Cheaper on the Kitsap side. So Kitsap has real costs that Seattle doesn't. Ferry commutes, car dependency, and longer drives for certain goods and services. For a regular ferry commuter, add back $300 per month. So the net picture still favors Kitsap by approximately $2,600 to $2,700 per month, or over $32,000 annually for a household buying at median prices. So the affordability gap is real. Has narrowed on the housing side and Kitsap prices have risen. It has not closed. The structural advantages, lower purchase price, lower property taxes, lower composite cost of living, remain intact. Is Kitsap still the financial move? For most King County buyers, yes. For remote workers who won't commute, emphatically yes. For buyers coming from lower cost markets who expected dramatic savings compared to their current city, well, the math may be tighter than expected, and you should run the numbers specific to your situation. You came here for data. I hope you got it. So 2 things before you go. If you're still in the research phase, build your case, trying to figure out if Washington State and specifically Kitsap makes sense financially. The free Washington State Relocation Guide in the description is built for exactly that stage. It covers the county comparison, the financial variables, and what questions to ask before you commit to a market. Links in the description. If you've moved past research and you want someone who knows the market and who can run numbers specific to your household, your price range, and your actual situation, hey, reach out to me directly. That's what I do. I'm James Bergstrom. I work Kitsap County every day, every week, every month, and every year for the last 25 years. So if you like this video, hey, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.